So, hi everyone, good morning. Today's unit is legal research methods. My name is Shazia Khan, and the learning outcome we'll be doing today is being able to develop legal research approaches. Before I go into learning outcome 2, I want to just go back and summarize a little bit of learning outcome 1, what we did in it. So we looked at understanding how to conduct legal research for learning outcome 1. And we looked at things like identifying the criteria required to conduct any sort of legal research. We looked at defining key issues in the proposed research. We also looked at assessing the diversity of research methods used in social legal studies and evaluating ethical dimensions of social legal approaches. We also looked at an analysis and features of the black letter approach to doctrinal research. We looked at researching the law and jury issues and criteria to conduct a legal research. We also looked at the importance of legal research in regards to producing a paper. We also looked at social legal studies, ethical dimensions within legal research. We looked at the black letter, which focuses on case law, statutes, legal authorities. We identified issues of types of legal research. So you could have things like primary or binding research. Secondary sources, we looked at why research was so important for academics, for students and for lawyers and solicitors out there to find the most relevant argument that supports their argument, the answer. And we also looked at the issue of the criteria for conducting legal research, how we deal with legal research, how we find the relevant facts and the steps that we need to go through, things like, establishing your legal issue first, gather critical information about the legal issue, look at your actual goal. So have a focus on what you're going to do, how you're going to collect the information. We also looked at, in learning outcome 1, qualitative and quantitative methods of research and what they involved and how they would be used in research. We also looked at things like unstructured and structured interviews, semi-structured interviews, observations. We looked at the importance of quantitative research and how it could be used within a research paper, and also what it's used there for, things like investigation. We also went on to look at data collection. We also then went on to look at examples of research methods in social legal studies, things like ethnographic research, what that involves and what methods are used within that. We then went on to look at other research models such as comparative legal analysis and what that actually involved. We then went on to look at content analysis and how that is used also within research and critical legal studies. We then went on to look at the black letter approach to doctrinal legal research and how that is conducted, why that's so important, and what methods are used within the black letter research. We also looked at features of the doctoral research and what it involves, the purpose of the doctoral research, legal research, so, and the characteristics, things like conducting comparative and historical inquiries, things like, providing lawyers, judges and others with tools needed to reach decisions on like immense variety of problems. Also, we looked at how it advises courts or clients about the application of the legal doctrine to specific cases and how they examine the judicial opinions. So that was learning outcome 1. Now we're going to go on to developing learning outcome 2, which is looking at being able to do legal research approach. And the reasoning behind this is that for learning outcome 2, we're going to have to choose a legal research topic. It could be on any areas you have studied, or you feel like you need to do, things like cybercrime, international trade, about the GATT agreement, World Trade Organization, anything you have an interest in, you must be able to, do a legal project around that. And you need to be looking at things like, how you will structure it, the rationale for you doing it, the project goals, how you're going to reference it, how you're going to plan it, how you're going to produce a detailed plan for the research project. So, we'll be looking at elements like that in regards to learning outcome 2. So let's go on to learning outcome 2 now. So it is firstly to develop, be able to develop legal research approaches. So the unit aim here is to allow learners to develop key knowledge, understanding and skills relating to legal research and theoretical and methodological problems associated with legal studies. Learners will be able to cover key topics relating to a research problem, conducting literature reviews, referencing data collection and analysis techniques, and drawing conclusions from the analysed data. Indicative content in learning outcome 2 is an introduction, understanding SMART objectives, terms of reference, the rationale for the selection, key milestones, project goals, and the schedule. Key terminology. So the SMART objectives are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals that provide a structured framework for setting a research objectives. So you would really use them in regarding to what you want to identify, how measurable it is, if you can achieve it, if it's relevant to achieve, and the time bound. And we'll go through that a little bit later as well. Number 2, terms of reference. So clear guidelines that define the scope, objectives and parameters of the research project, including the legal context, stakeholders involved, and research methodologies employed. The rationale for selection, so the justification behind choosing a particular research topic or area of inquiry, highlighting its significance, relevance, and potential impact with the broader legal landscape. So if you want to talk about, the changes within e-conveyancing or things like, cybercrime, things like that, you need to justify why you're talking about this, or why there's a need, why there's a rationale for you selecting this research project. Number 4, key milestones, significant checkpoints or stages in research project timeline that track progress, monitor timelines, and ensure the project deliverables are met within stipulated timeframes. Number 5, project goals, so the overarching aims and objectives of the research endeavour, articulating the desired outcomes, contributions or impacts of the research project within legal domains. Schedule, a well-defined timeline outlining the sequencing of the activities, tasks and milestones within the research project, ensuring efficient resource allocation and timely completion of the research objectives. And this is really, really important. I mean, they're all really important, but to have a timeline of what you intend to do, how you intend to do it, what tasks you intend to achieve by this time, because it identifies that you could achieve your research project in the time that you've allocated yourself. So it's good to have this structure in place. It's good to be punctual with that and follow the structure and complete the tasks as you've identified in the structure. So there's a video there that you can watch in your own time on research methods. So it's looking at qualitative research, mixed methods, quantitative research, and techniques. So sampling techniques, data collection methods. So if you're using interviewing, if you're using observations, case studies, you need to identify that. And this video will show you things that you can look at in your own time. So introduction. Legal research is a cornerstone of the legal profession, essential for understanding, analysing and addressing complex legal issues. Developing effective legal research approaches is crucial for researchers and practitioners alike. This presentation explores the key steps in the process, selecting a relevant research topic for formulating SMART objectives and creating a detailed research plan. We'll cover terms of reference, rationale for selection, key milestones, project goals, and scheduling. These components are vital for guiding the research process and ensuring that it's a success. So you need to follow these to identify that, you know, whatever you're doing is going to follow the goals that you intend to do. And it's very, very important. And I think personally, in regards to any sort of analysis, you need to be following your timeline and your goals you intend to follow. So legal research can be summarized as the ability to find, evaluate and use sources of legal information to solve a problem, suggest any sort of reforms to the law, compare the laws of different jurisdictions and understand the role of law within society. Understanding legal research approaches. So legal research approaches serve as the bedrock of effective legal inquiry, providing a systematic framework for navigating the complexities of legal analysis and scholarship. These approaches are essential for guiding researchers in selecting relevant research topics, formulating clear objectives, and planning research projects with precision and purpose. A structured framework for selecting research topics. So legal research approaches after researchers a structured framework for identifying and selecting research topics that are relevant, timely and significant with the legal landscape. By delineating criteria for topic selection and methodologies for evaluating the legal salience of potential research areas, these approaches ensure that researchers focus their efforts on areas that have practical relevance and scholarly importance. So you've got to choose an area that you have an interest in and obviously that you're able to get research from. So defining the research question is really important in the first step in legal research. You know, it involves, like we've said, precisely formulating the specific legal issue, clear, concise articulation for the research objective. And for example, if the research question is about the legality of certain government policy, it should be framed in a way that precisely identifies the key aspects involved. And identifying key legal issues is an important aspect of understanding the research question. It requires careful analysis of the problem at the hand to determine the main legal components that need to be considered. So it involves breaking down the research question into constituent parts and identifying the specific legal concepts, doctrines or principles. So it's really important to look at the question and break it down, you know, and try to answer it that way if you know, and it allows you to be, you know, more systematic, but obviously it allows you to identify certain legal concepts. So the importance of legal research, advancing knowledge. Legal research expands our understanding of legal principles, doctrines and precedents, enriching theory and scholarship. Informing decision-making. So legal research provides essential insights for legal professionals to make informed decisions, craft persuasive arguments, and advocate effectively. Addressing legal challenges. So legal research helps identify, analyze, and resolve complex legal issues, guiding solutions in litigation, dispute resolution, and legislative initiatives. Academic pursuits. In academia, legal research fosters scholarly inquiry and intellectual discourse, advancing legal scholarship and interdisciplinary research agendas. For professional practice, legal research is indispensable for providing competent legal representation, supporting arguments and devising strategies for favourable outcomes in legal proceedings. Policy development. So legal research is important because it contributes to informed policy making by providing empirical evidence, comparative analysis, and legal insights to policymakers and legislators. Mainly, legal research is designed to help you check for legal precedents, as we mentioned earlier. It can be used mainly to find answers for various legal questions, and it's really important to figure out a legal issue has any precedent or not. Legal research is also important because it looks at the type of case that you're dealing with and helps you move on to the legal process. Also, for legal research, it also helps someone prepare arguments, as in court, when we mentioned the lawyers, the legals, the professional side of it, which is backed up by research. Legal research actually supplements the area of practice, and it's backed up with credible sources, evidence, and historical data. You know, regardless of the complexity of any cases, legal research will help you complete an answer. And even ensure that all legal matters are handled accordingly. So it's really, really important that you look at that. Overview of legal research project. So a legal research project encompasses a structured, systematic inquiry into various legal issues, doctrines, or phenomena with the realm of law. It involves a methodological approach to gathering, analysing, and interpreting legal sources, such as you'll be looking at statutes, case law, regulations, and scholarly commentary, with the overarching objective of generating new insights and contributing to the advancement of legal scholarship. So it's really important that as you begin your research, you need to rework you need to outline the materials you need to analyze. If it's an area that there's lots of, you know, research in, you need to be able to look at the solutions around it, whether there's enough law, there's enough research out there, you know, so that you could develop your legal argument. Key components of the legal research project typically including defining the research, the scope of it, and objectives, conducting a comprehensive literature review, which we'll be talking more about literature reviews in Learning Outcome 3, to identify existing scholarship and gaps in knowledge, formulating research questions or hypotheses, selecting appropriate research methodologies and data collection techniques, analysing data or legal materials, and drawing conclusions based on your findings. So it's really important that you're able to look at all the research strategies and employ them into your research so that you're able to, you know, identify any sort of analysis that you need to do later on, because it's so important to identify if there's any sort of changes, you know, if there's any sort of new laws being introduced, so that you're able to identify the legal issues and apply the relevant laws and cases. The ultimate goal of legal research project may vary depending on the context and purpose of the inquiry. It could aim to propose new legal theories. It could evaluate the effectiveness of existing legal frameworks, could explore the implications of legal decisions or developments, assess the impact of legislation or policy changes, or address specific legal challenges faced by individuals, organizations, or society as a whole. Through rigorous research methodologies and critical analysis, legal research projects contribute to the enhancement of legal knowledge, the development of legal theory, and the promotion of justice and fairness within the legal system. Moreover, the insights and findings generated from policy legal research projects have practical applications in legal practice, policy making, advocacy, and other professional domains, thereby serving a valuable contribution to the broader legal system. By identifying the areas and looking at the relevant research, you know, it makes you identify the analysis that you're looking at of the problem, and also looks at analysing primary sources or secondary sources. Choosing a relevant legal research topic. And now that is what you need to do. You need to be able to choose a relevant topic. And this is a critical step in ensuring the significance and impact of a research project within the legal domain. Several factors must be considered when choosing a research topic, including the legal relevance, the societal importance, and potential contribution to existing knowledge. So if there's a need for this area, there may be something, for example, the big thing at the moment will be things like cybercrime, hacking computers, the legal side of it, GDPR, things like that. So the laws need to be relevant and there needs to be a societal importance for that. So you need to look at the legal relevance. You need to be able to look at the background to that and identify what you want to do. The chosen research topic should inherently tie to legal principles, doctrines, or issues relevant to the legal field. It should address questions or concerns with specific areas of law, such as constitutional law, criminal law, contract law, or administrative law, ensuring it's directly applicability to legal theory, practice, or policy. So you need to make sure that the area you're choosing has legal relevance, that you are, about some background about that area, you're able to develop the area and, brainstorm some ideas. That helps, to look at, for example, topics in climate change, environmental, legal, the jurisdiction, develop, and then you need to develop a research question. So, the research, societal importance, the research topic should also possess societal importance, addressing pressing legal issues that have broader implications for individuals, communities, or society as a whole. Topics related to access to justice, human rights, equality from the law, before the law, environmental protection, or emerging legal challenges in technology or globalization are examples of areas with significant societal impact. Contribution to existing knowledge, as we just said. Additionally, the chosen topic area should offer the potential to contribute meaningfully to existing legal scholarship or fill gaps in the knowledge within the law. Researchers should conduct a thorough literature review to identify current debates, controversies, or areas lacking sufficiently scholarly attention, ensuring their research adds value to the ongoing discourse and advances understanding the legal domain. So it's really important that once you've developed a research question, you've looked at the background to it, you're able to look into depth about that area, and you start doing some in-depth research in regards to articles, scholarly books, sources, case studies, and research. Don't be afraid to discover new areas about this thing. The topic development process will help you develop what you want to develop to produce this project, but also it's an answer to your research question, and you will be ready and you will have a knowledge of what you want to do. So it's really interesting that you need to be able to be in line with your project research topic, as you need to find the area interesting so you're able to gather more research around that area. Creating aims and objectives. So in research, aims and objectives are two important components, but they're often used interchangeably. Though they would sound similar, they are distinct and serve different purposes. So creating aims and objectives. So here we're looking at creating aims and objectives, and we're looking at the SMART criteria. So the first one is specific. Research aims and objectives should be clearly defined and specific, outlining the precise goals and outcomes that the research seeks to achieve. This clarity helps researchers maintain focus and avoid ambiguity throughout the research process. The next part of the acronym is M, which is measurable. Aims and objectives should be measurable, allowing researchers to track progress, evaluate outcomes, and assess the extent to which research goals have been achieved. Measurable objectives provide tangible indicators of success and enable researchers to gauge the effectiveness of their research strategy. So what strategy you aim to use? Achievable in the SMART criteria is research aims and objectives should be realistic and achievable with the constraints of available resources, timeframes, and expertise. So, what you are trying to research, it must be achievable at the end of it. Setting attainable goals ensures that the research efforts remain feasible and that researchers can make meaningful progress towards achieving their goals. Achieving their objectives. Relevant from the SMART criteria is aims and objectives should be relevant to the research topic. So you need to make sure that what you are writing about is relevant to that rather than moving away from it, aligned with overarching research questions or problem statement, and they directly contribute to addressing key research objectives. Relevant aims and objectives ensure that research efforts remain focused on generating meaningful insights and advancing knowledge within the chosen research domain. Time-bound. Research aims and objectives should be time-bound with clear deadlines or milestones for completion. As we mentioned earlier, it's really important to have time bounds in place and a timeline to identify when you will be completing tasks. Establishing specific timeframes helps researchers manage their time effectively, prioritize tasks, and ensure timely progress towards achieving these tasks and goals. Research aims and objectives. So the components is terms of reference, and the justification for this is that establishing clear terms of reference provides a framework for defining the scope, objectives, and boundaries of your research. The rationale for selection and the justification for this is justifying the selection of the research topic, ensuring its relevance, significance, and potential contribution to existing knowledge. The key milestones is identifying key milestones allows for tracking progress, monitoring timelines, and ensuring that project deliverables are met. And the project goals is articulating project goals, provides clarity on overarching aims and objectives of the research endeavour. And the schedule is creating a schedule, outlines the timeline and sequencing of activities and ensuring efficient resource allocation with timely completion. Research aims is, is a broad statement that describes the overall purpose of the research. It also provides a general direction for your study and indicates the intended achievements of your research. Aims are usually written in a general and abstract manner, describing the ultimate goal, whereas objectives are specific, measurable, which we've just looked at, the SMART, achievable goals that aim to accomplish with a specified time period, the SMART acronym. They break down your own research aims to smaller, more manageable components, and it provides a more clear structure of what you aim to do. So it's really, really important that you have the SMART acronym in your aims and objectives, and you're able to identify what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. So the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, because that's really important in identifying what you want to do for your research. So a detailed plan for the research project. A detailed plan for the research project encompasses various elements essential for its successful execution. This includes outlining the research methodology, specifying data collection methods, detailing analysis techniques, and devising dissemination strategies. Within a research plan, you determine as your goals, the steps you reach, and everything you need to gather to produce that research. So it's really important that you have a plan in place to document an overview of the project and what you intend to do. So the first one is research methodology. The research methodology outlines the approach and methods used to investigate the research questions or hypothesis. It may involve qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods approaches, depending on the nature of the research. Common methodologies in legal research include doctrinal analysis, empirical studies, comparative analysis, and case studies, which we looked at in Learning Outcome 1. Data collection methods. Data collection methods refer to the techniques employed to gather relevant information or evidence for the research project. This may include conducting literature reviews, analysing legal documents, administrating surveys, conducting interviews, or observing legal proceedings. The choice of data collection methods should be aligned with the research objectives and methodology. Analysis techniques involve interpreting and synthesizing the collected data or legal materials to derive meaningful insights and conclusions. Depending on the research approach, analysis techniques may include qualitative analysis, quantitative analysis, content analysis, thematic analysis, or comparative analysis. The selected techniques should be appropriate for addressing the research questions and objectives. Dissemination strategies. Dissemination strategies outline how the research findings will be communicated to the relevant stakeholders and the broader community. This may include publishing research papers in academic journals, presenting findings at conferences or seminars, and engaging in policymakers or practitioners, or using digital platforms for knowledge dissemination. Effective dissemination strategies ensure that research has a broader impact and contributes to advancing knowledge within the field. By developing a detailed plan that addresses these key components, researchers can effectively navigate the research process, generate valuable insights, and contribute meaningful to the advancement of knowledge within the legal domain. Crucially, the plan that you put together, the research plan, is needed at each phase of the research project. So it's like a roadmap. A research plan serves as a valuable tool, providing direction for those involved in the actual research. And it's also tax-focused while keeps you organized so that you're able to meet your, meet the plan, also meet the timelines as well, and make sure that, you are planned sessions, so you are well informed, you are, you're clearly identifying your research goals. It's really, really important also that you have a background, as I mentioned earlier, to the research plan, and you have an interest in that area, because it's at each step, you have to find an interest in finding more detail about the area, and thinking about the area, what you intend to do, how you intend to do it, what you expect from the research. So you need to be really careful if you're identifying, how you're selecting the area, how you intend to, outline your goals, objectives, how you intend to use the different strategies, as we mentioned, things like interviews, field studies, it could be focus groups, it could be things like surveys, how you would intend to identify that you're able to develop this research and look at the components that you're going to do to help you get the information. So it's really important using the SMART acronym to get to your goal and having a timeline in place. So in conclusion, developing a comprehensive understanding of legal research approaches is pivotal for scholars and practitioners alike. It equips individuals with the necessary tools and methodologies to navigate the complexities of legal inquiry, to contribute to legal scholarship, and address pressing legal issues effectively. By adhering to the structured frameworks, as we mentioned earlier, such as SMART objectives, it's really good that you're able to, identify, the rationale behind it, and consider like terms of the reference, rationale for selection, key milestones, project goals, what your goals are, and schedule. And I think researchers can ensure the success of their research endeavours once you have these SMART objectives in place, because I think it's really important to identify SMART objectives to try to, identify that you're able to, achieve your goals at the end of it. And it's like, the SMART objectives and the goal of SMART helps you. It gives you an objective, and it identifies what you intend to do, how you intend to do it, but also it gives you a focus on what areas you need to do, what tasks you need to meet, and also what research you need to do to get to that end goal. Moreover, selecting relevant research topics, formulating clear aims and objectives, and creating research plans are essential steps in the research process. These steps lay the foundation for conducting rigorous and impactful research within the legal domain. So you should have a clear aim of what you want to do. You should be looking at societal impact on it. You should be looking at what you find an interest in, because you will be doing this research project and you must have an interest in that area. Through strategic planning and execution, researchers can advance knowledge, informed decision-making, and address societal issues within legal context. So now we've finished learning outcome 2, which is looking at the research plan, the research project. So make sure that you choose an area you have an interest in, and also look at societal needs and the research that you have out there as well, and how you expect to do that. So follow the criteria of the SMART acronym. For a research plan is really important as well. These are the references used for learning outcome 2, and go on to Moodle because it's really important, because there'll be ebooks there. There'll also be journals, additional reading for you to go on to, and any sort of further reading that you need to go on to Moodle, or any other sort of resources that will help you with your research project. Make sure, again, when you look at it, make sure that you plan everything according to your research plan, and make sure everything is documented, and make sure that you are following the plan, so towards the end of it you achieve the results you want to achieve, and you achieve that goal, because that is the most important thing, that you you achieve the goal that you've set using the criteria which we've done in learning outcome 2. Any questions you have, email learnerwork@ukvarsity.co.uk. Thank you for attending today's session. The next session we'll be doing is learning outcome 3, which is mainly to do with literature review. Thank you.